Flipped Out, friends, family, and fans. Today we are going to review Crapstain Marvel, the movie. As you know, this is Flipped Out, and I am Flipped Out, and we have today with us... Ethan. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into this. Please remember to like and subscribe, hit those notification bells, and comment below so we'll know what you're flipped out about. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of go over this movie about how we liked it or what we didn't like, how we felt about it, and so without giving too many spoilers away, I'm gonna start out with the general feel of the movie. The movie itself wasn't anything that makes you think like The Last Jedi, where it was over-dominating with a feminist agenda or a leftist agenda of any kind. As a Marvel movie goes, it was your standard template. It felt good, it was funny. The whole thing though, the whole time, me personally, I felt as though I was remembering what Brie Larson said, her comments. And while I don't agree with her politics, and even more so, strongly disagree with what she said about race, my race and gender, the movie itself, again, wasn't overbearing with any agenda-laced moments. What do you think, Ethan?
I enjoyed the movie a lot. I also think that Brie Larson was pretty rude to a lot of people. But the movie was really funny, great story, and they made the way she got her powers pretty unique. I don't think that's how it went in the comics, but I liked it. It was really good.
Yeah, they do address the way she gets her powers. Some of it is, it's the standard expectation. Oh, well, like Hulk got his powers with a radiation blast. It's very similar in that way. You will see if you see the movie. If you choose not to see the movie, well, I can go ahead and give you the spoiler right here. So here's the spoiler warning. At one point, she's chasing a spaceship, and her co-pilot, who is also her mentor on Earth, they wreck. And the bad guys, was it Skrulls?
Yes,
It was a Skrull in the other ship. Comes down and they're about to, they're asking Brie Larson, who survived, to give them the light speed reactor.
You know what? I don't think it was the Skrulls. It was the, again, spoiler warning. It was the Kree.
Was it the Kree?
Yeah, it was the Kree that Captain Marvel was friends with, but since she forgot this all happened, they became allies.
Mm-hmm.
But so it was the Kree that shot the ship down trying to get the hyperspace drive.
Yeah.
And you learned why.
Yeah, and then she actually shoots it because she doesn't want them to have it. When it explodes, she absorbs the energy, and that's when the Kree decide to adopt her into their, world, so to speak, their lifestyle, their army, and see if they can convince her that she's always been part of them, that she is also an alien. And then, of course, they limit her powers. They put this little thing on her neck, which limits her ability to use her powers, but she doesn't know this, ever. Like, they've got her under the impression that she can only use her powers because they've given the powers to her. So she's, this whole time, is feeling held back. Like she's been fighting with one hand tied behind her back. She even makes that analogy. She alludes to it anyway.
And after the blast and she gets her powers, they wipe her mind so she doesn't remember any of it, so they can get her on their side.
Right. One of the most exciting and unexpected things during the movie is the Skrulls. You think that they're, like in the comics, they're very bad. But in this movie, they end up being very good, not bad. Surprisingly so. And in such, you think that the MacGuffin here is the light speed hyperspace drive, the reactor, whatever it's called, the core at one point. You think that that's the MacGuffin. But in the end, you realize that the Skrull are trying to get to their own people. Now, if you back up in the movie, and they do this plenty with flashbacks,
Yeah.
Captain Marvel is remembering her mentor on Earth, who was in the Top Gun program, so to speak, and she basically was an alien, and she was a Kree also, but she was on the side of the Skrulls. She actually didn't agree with the way the Krees treated the Skrull. It's funny, if you really think about it, it kind of harkens your mind back to the Civil War, and how slaves were treated. But it's not done in such a way that makes you feel like it was an agenda-driven moment or anything. It just worked well for the movie, I think. It's really too bad that Brie Larson opened her mouth and said the horrible things she said. This movie could have otherwise been a more popular Marvel movie. Alita, I'm going to do a review for that a little later. We both saw and paid for Alita.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was what we did. So we did see this movie, and maybe it'll be on Netflix in a while. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't normally give ratings to a movie like a 7, an 8, a 9, or 10 like that. And I'm certainly not suggesting that you go see it. I don't put up with people talking about my race and my gender, just like I don't put up with people talking about any other race or gender. I don't want to be called a honky or a cracker, and I certainly don't like to be called anything, period, honestly. And I don't think people should be subjected to that, or, pay people a salary for, belittling them. But if you're basing it on the merits of the movie on its own, it's an okay movie. And I would suggest catching it on Netflix or whatever you might catch it on that is free. So back to the movie a little bit. Let's make this short, and we're going to wrap it up here, but let's go over the end credit scenes, shall we?
Sure. So the first end credit scene starts out with Captain America and Black Widow, and they're in the building that was seen in the Endgame trailer, and they're looking at all these screens, and in the background there is the Captain Marvel pager, and Captain America is talking to Black Widow, saying, whatever you do, keep this beeper going as long as possible, because whoever's on the other end, we want them to hear it, because we don't know if they've heard it yet.
Yes, Fury wanted it to stay on.
Yeah, and they had found it next to Fury, or his scraps.
Yeah, scraps.
Yeah,
the snap scraps.
Yeah. So they're talking about all that, and it stops beeping, and they're like, what the hell, what are we going to do? And then Captain Marvel shows up right behind them, and it's like, where's Fury? Yeah. It's pretty cool.
And she looked mean and pissed.
Yeah, and she looked a little older since the movie set in the 90s, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I wasn't real thrilled to see her. I'm worried about her being overpowering in the next movie. I don't think she should be the one to take down Thanos. I understand it was cool. I get that. It would have been cooler had she not, Brie Larson not said that, but also it would have been cooler if at the end of this movie she wasn't completely overpowering. It was just too much.
Yeah, but that's totally how Endgame's gonna go. She's totally gonna be the one that takes down Thanos.
Yeah, do you even want that?
I hope it's like a team effort, and she can be a big part of that, but she can't be the main person that does it.
Yeah, I agree with that. She just can't be the main person. As for a movie that has a Superman figure, it was fine. And there wasn't a whole lot of agenda in it. But okay, well, on to the second end credit scene. We have the Flurkin, which is a cat named Goose that has managed to stay in the movie far beyond its welcome at the original beginning. But I think this is for animal lovers, and that's fine. In fact, there are a couple scenes in the movie with moments that I think are for animal lovers. That these are pretty funny scenes and very cute. At the end credit scene with the Flurkin, by the way, it has these tentacles that can come out and grab stuff
of its mouth
and bring it into its mouth, and it has dimension pockets in its mouth where it can stuff things in other dimensions or something like that. At least that's the most I understand about it. And it does that with the Tesseract. So at the very end credit scene, it hops up on Fury's desk. Fury is not there, no one is there, and it coughs it up. It coughs about 4 or 5 times, and then finally, blah! It's pretty gruesome looking with all the with all the drool and stuff, and then the cat starts cleaning itself. Not a cat, a flirkin. And it's pretty gross. But yeah, overall, that's the end credit scenes. That's the whole movie in a nutshell. I know you're probably not wanting to go buy tickets to go see this, so take my word for it. As far as I'm concerned, it was an okay Marvel movie. There was nothing you needed to see going into Endgame. Brie should have shut her mouth. I think they could have made twice the money they've made so far this weekend. Oh, by the way, 75 to 90% of that theater was female. Just thought I'd let you know. I'm not sure what you feel about that, or it's just a fact. How about that? It's just a fact. How did you like the movie overall?
I liked it a lot. She didn't really treat the fans fairly, obviously, but it was another great Marvel movie and a lot of good comedy, and it felt like a comic book, which is good.
Yeah, they didn't follow the comic book guidelines the way they normally would. The Skrulls were not the bad guys in the end, and I'm not sure how that really plays out in the comics, but I believe they are the bad guys in the comics. So they change it up. I'm not sure a lot of people will like that, just like a lot of people didn't like the way they changed up Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man was just one of those movies that didn't follow the regular formula. The regular formula would have been showing Uncle Ben dying and Spider-Man pursuing this person that, you know, killed Uncle Ben, etc., etc. Tobey Maguire. We've seen the movie, we've seen the story.
But it did turn out well.
I like the new Spider-Man too. It was a good introduction in Civil War, and I'm tired of seeing the same old story told. The introduction, origin story, it's been told. We know it. Let's move on and see what else we can do with the character. That's where I stand. Anyway, thanks for checking out our movie review. Please remember to like and subscribe. Please hit those notification bells and comment below so we'll know what you're flipped out about.